Would there be any deceptions if we care enough? And what does that mean? Welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about this today. As I was out shooting today, one of the targets had been moved. It was a brand new target, and it was just out in the middle of the field, and it should have been stationary, but it was not. When I got to it, it was laying on its side, and I didn't see anything else around. It wasn't leaning against anything. It just was like someone placed it there, looked at it for a second, and then moved it. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe they saw something. So I started walking around the perimeter of that target to see if I could find where they were sitting. They might have walked off and forgot where they were sitting, or they might have seen something and intentionally moved the target. But either way, the point is, they had to have cared enough to move the target. And so I want to flip that around today, because the thing is that when you hear a noise out in the woods, say you're hiking or whatever, and you hear a noise, and you stop and you think, well, did I really hear that? You know, if you're in the military, you might think, did I really hear that? If you're law enforcement, you might think, did I really hear that? But the reality is if we care enough, we will hear that. If we care enough, we will see that. The first part of this is that if we care enough, we will take the time, we will stop, we will inspect, we will look, we will listen, we will try to triangulate the sounds, we will actually do the work. If we don't care, we just keep walking, we just keep doing what we're doing. We don't take the time to stop and pay attention to our world. If we're in a relationship and we're paying attention, we will notice things. One of the most common complaints that I hear from people who are going through divorces, who are going through breakups, is that they feel like they missed something. They feel like they dropped the ball somewhere along the line. They feel like they weren't paying attention, and they missed something that maybe they should have known. If we're paying attention to the person we're with, if we care enough, we will pick up on cues that something is going on. Maybe they're distant. Maybe they're spending more time away from us than they used to. Maybe they're spending more time on their phone than they used to. All of these things are normal until they're not. But if we're paying attention and we care enough, we will notice when those behaviors change. And when we notice that those behaviors have changed, we will care enough to have a conversation about it. We live in a day and age right now where everybody's looking at their phone all the time. Nobody's looking at each other. Nobody's having conversations anymore. Everybody's just staring at their phones. If we had taken the time to actually put the phone down and engage with the people around us, we might have noticed things earlier that we could have prevented some problems. So yes, there would be no deceptions if we cared enough to do our inspections. We would have noticed. Now, as far as the deception goes, sometimes people are good at hiding things. They're good at being deceptive. But even if they are good at being deceptive, if we care enough, we will still catch them. So, for example, my wife and I, we have a rule, and you know, we joke about it all the time. If she gets a text message from a man, she has to read it out loud. She doesn't have to, but she wants to, because she says that she wants me to know that if a man is trying to hit on her, she wants me to know that she's hot. And I'm okay with that. But the point is that if we care enough, we will check. We will ask questions. I remember one time when we were dating, and she got a text message from an ex-boyfriend that said, "Hey, how much do you miss me?" And I remember thinking, well, that's funny. She probably hasn't thought about that guy in years. And then she responded, "Not as much as I miss you." The point is that she was willing to play into it a little bit, because she wanted to see how he was gonna respond. And I didn't like that. And I told her I didn't like that. And she said, why? He's just an ex-boyfriend. And I said, doesn't matter. The point is that I trust you, but I would like you to not do that. I would like you to not play games with me. I would like you to not play games with his emotions. I would like you to just be honest and open with me. And she agreed. So the point is that she knew that I was going to be upset if I saw that message, and she chose not to hide it. And the reason why she chose not to hide it is because she cared enough. She cared enough to respect me. She cared enough to respect our relationship. She cared enough to respect herself. And she knew that if she played games with me, she wasn't showing me the respect that she deserved from me. And if I didn't respect her, then we wouldn't be together. Now, obviously, if we care about someone and we love someone and they lying to us or being deceptive with us, it hurts. It hurts because we care. We care about that person. We want the best for that person. We want a healthy relationship with them. We want to be there for them. And when they're not honest with us, it causes us pain. But the reality is that if we didn't care, we wouldn't feel that pain. So that feeling of pain is actually a testament to the fact that we do care. When we go out into the woods and we hear a noise, like I said before, we might think, did I really hear that? But if we care enough, we will stop and we will listen and we will triangulate and we will identify where that sound came from. And if we're not able to identify where the sound came from, we will be prepared to deal with the possibility that there could have been something out there. And so many times we tell ourselves stories in our head about why we did undo an inspection or why we did unpay attention. We'll say things to ourselves like, well, I didn't want to bother him, or I didn't want to bother her, or I didn't want to be a pain in the butt. I didn't want to seem like I was paranoid, or I didn't want to seem like I was crazy. Or we might say things to ourselves like, well, I didn't want to make it weird, or I didn't want to be too forward, or I didn't want to push too hard. We make up all of these reasons, all of these excuses for why we didn't do the inspection, why we didn't do the work, why we didn't pay attention. But the reality is that we didn't do it because we didn't care. We didn't care enough to stop and take a look. We didn't care enough to stop and listen. We didn't care enough to stop and check. And so many times we can trick ourselves into thinking we cared. But the truth is that if we had cared, we would have done the work. So the next time you go out into the woods and you hear a noise, I want you to think about this. Think about how you react to it. Do you stop and do you pay attention to it? Or do you just keep moving? The next time you're in a situation where you think, did I really see that? Did I really hear that? I want you to stop and I want you to pay attention. Because if you really care about the people in your life, if you really care about your world, if you really care about the people around you, you will take the time to stop and do the inspection. You will take the time to stop and pay attention. You will take the time to stop and listen. That's all I have for you today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.